what exactly the definition for the sintering process. So why the sintering is been very necessary for the applications. So apart from that, we have been seen out what are different types of sintering process, because this sintering process especially is being used in the research field and for the industry applications. Okay, so wherever we have to get the good products through the different powder particles. Okay, so at that time we want to use the sintering process. Okay, so even in case of sintering, okay, so there will be some sort of defects. Even after sintering, also there will be some sort of minor defects. It will be there. Okay, but without sintering, there's a lot of defects will be there. After sintering, the problems or else the defects will be quietly minimized by this particular process. Okay, so that's why the sintering has been applied almost for all the materials. So just to remove any sort of voids in between them and to increase the strength of the material. Okay, so that's the main application of the sintering in order to increase the strength of the materials by through the heating process. And by combining the small molecules, we're going to get a good strength of the sintered product. Okay, so if you're going to do the testing for particles without sintering and the particles after a sintering process. Okay, so definitely the strength will be high for the sintered particles or materials. Okay, so there's been a proven and it's been the routine procedure. So next, coming to what are the main defects analysis of sintered components. Okay, what are the some of the defects analysis of the sintered components. Okay, so actually this is some sort of case studies. Okay, so the quality control of the sintered products, we're going to have some sort of case studies. Okay, so basically these sintered products are often used to replace the traditional metals. Okay, so compared to the traditional metals, it has been completely replaced with the help of these sintered products for the cost saving, or it may be for the technical improvement of the quality. Okay, so for both the sense we can able to use this sintering process. So in order to save the traditional material cost as well as to improve the properties or improve the other things in the product, will be using this sintering process. So it is necessary to quantify like service parameters in terms of physical, mechanical properties. Okay. So moreover, the sintering products they must emphasize awareness when specifying any sort of material. Okay. So that the material should undergo the sintering process. So unfortunately, in the powder metallurgy industry, there is not an inch record of past tallies which may help in selecting the material that will be satisfactory perform the a particular tinction. Okay, so after the sintering process, the things have been quietly it has been improved over here. So these are the some of the factors which may handicap the like, quantity of sintered products. It may be so testing and inspection procedures which do not realistically reflect actual use situation. Okay, so the testing and inspection procedures which do not realistically reflect the actual use situation. Okay, so for example, if you want to take some example, so the particle size yield in floor screening, okay, by vibro screens, okay, versus laboratory routine screening. Okay, so there's a lot of difference between the particle size yielding with the floor screening by vibro screen versus laboratory routine screening. So sometimes there may be some failures. It may be applied during the evaluation methods to purchase the components or powders. So which may be applied to internally manufactured ones. Okay. So sometimes there may be internal defects in the powders as well as the sintering of products. So at that time they're going to use these materials for the internally for the manufacturing the ones. So next, the crash design is to incorporate new features in existing designs with minimum tuning changes. Okay. So the crash design to incorporate the new features in the existing designs with the minimum tuning changes. Okay. So the prototype model it can help consistent in building up of confidence over here. Okay. So these are the some of the case studies where this sintering process is important in order to analyze this or any sort of the defects over there. So there are a lot of application of this sintering process. Okay, So in almost in all the fields, this particular sintering process have been used. Okay, so especially for the electrical contact materials. Okay, so especially for the electrical contact materials are produced by either a slicing rod, so made from the metal powders. So these electrical contact materials, it may be the copper, it may be the tin. Okay, so it's basically made from the metal powders into the infiltratory process. So compaction and sintering of powders has been very necessary. Even for the tungsten also we're going to use this sintering process. So for the copper and the silver combined with refractory materials such as the tungsten, tungsten carbide and the molybdenum are the principal materials for the electrical contacts. Okay. So these are the basic electrical materials which we're going to use for the electrical purpose that has been gone through with the sintering process itself. So it's by the combination of different it's a combination of different powders have been mixed and it has been pressed and it has been sintered to increase out the strength of this particular material. So there are n number of combination. It may be the copper and the tungsten. It may be the tungsten and the silver. Okay. So depending upon the application, they're going to mix the powders of these different materials for the given applications. So for like this, for the electrical things, we're going to be use a lot of process of sintering process. So especially the tungsten, silver, and the silver combination we've been used. So apart from that, we're going to use the iron nickel and the iron nickel cobalt alloys prepared in a wire and sheet from the either rolling has been using the process of sintering the metal powders. Okay, so even iron nickel and iron nickel cobalt. Okay, so these materials also been sintered to improve the properties by using the sintering process. So these are some of the applications of this particular sintering products which have been used in the electrical and electrical contacts. So next we're going to have the small topic is called as the biomaterials. Okay, so we're going to give a brief introduction about this biomaterials. Okay, so as you have seen in the human body, okay, there are a number of parts have been present. Okay, so it may be the legs, hands, it may be the different bones, the different parts have been present over here. Okay, so what exactly the definition of the biomaterial is? So the biomaterial is an inert material. Okay, so whenever any of the part in our body is been not working over there. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to replace that part which has been not functioning over there and we're going to introduce the new part over there. Okay, so that new part is called as the biomaterials. Okay, so that is the basic definition for the biomaterials. Okay, so even in our body. Okay, so once the parts have been failed to perform its function. Okay, so it may be the heart, it may be the limbs, it may be the legs, it may be hands, it may be any part. Okay, so we can able to use the alternate material so that it's going to work according to the previous original models. Okay, so for example, you guys have been heard the artificial heart. Okay, you guys have been heard the word artificial heart. So kindly reply. You guys have been heard the word artificial art.
Yeah, sir.
So this artificial art is also one of the biomaterials. Okay, so that is made up of some type of material. It may be the polymer material, it may be the ceramic material, it may be the metal material. Okay, so these things have been done with the help of the biomaterials itself. Okay, so in the biomaterials, basically there are three different types of biomaterials. Okay, so one is the metal biomaterial. Okay, so that's going to use with the help of metal and metal rods. Okay, so for example, for this metal biomaterials, I'm going to give one small example for you guys. Okay, so if at all if there is any part in the body has been damaged, especially the bones. Okay, it may be the thigh bone, it may be the any other bones. It's been damaged over there. Okay, or else it's been ruptured. We can't able to use the same one for the further thing. Okay, so at that time, what we're going to do is we're going to keep that both bones which have been fractured at a given point. Okay, so we're going to club it in between the for the both the bones. So we're going to use the metal rods along with the screws and the nuts. Okay, so we're going to club it this failed bone part along with this metal rods. Okay, so at that time we're going to use the screws and the nuts for this process and we're going to fix it So after taking some rest, it may be in terms of 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. Okay. So after that, normally they can able to walk over here. Okay. So this is the main application of this biomaterials in the biofield. Okay, in the medical field. So like this, we're going to have the even ceramic materials also. At the same time, we're going to have the polymer materials also. Okay. So depending upon the applications, we can able to use either metal biomaterial or the ceramic biomaterial or else the polymer biomaterials. Okay. So I'm going to tell one main disadvantages of this metal biomaterial. Okay. So if you're going to use these metal parts inside our body, okay. So what happens? So sometimes the cells in and around the bone part, okay, it may not accept this particular material, okay. So that is one sort of problem, okay. So and the other thing is there will be corrosion problems will be there if you're going to insert this metal biomaterials inside our body, okay. So due to wear and tear, okay, some part of the materials they may come from the metal, okay. Then it may corrode over there, okay. You know the meaning of corrosion, okay. So it may corrode over there, okay. So that is the another major problem of this metal biomaterials, okay. So like this metal biomaterials, we have the n number of other types. Okay. So in order to minimize this effect, corrosion and all, so we're going to use the other materials. Apart from that, we're going to have some color on the particular biomaterials. Okay. So these are all possible. Some of the basic metallic materials like chromium. Okay. Chromium alloys. Okay. Cobalt chromium alloys. The titanium and the titanium alloys are established for the biomedical application. So owing to their biocompatibility and the outstanding combination of the strength and the ductility, as I've been told, the strength of this metal biomaterials has been too good compared to other biomaterials. Okay, but the problem is the corrosion problem with the metal biomaterials. Okay, so there is a small important small type of metal biomaterials. So similarly, like this, we're going to have the ceramic biomaterials also. The ceramic biomaterials, one advantage is, so we're going to have the same combination of the bone mineral, okay? So whatever the combination of bone has been made, what are different materials which have been made for the natural bone, the same combination of the ceramic materials, we can able to mix it almost similar to the natural bone, and we can able to insert in between the broken part, so that so it's going to act like as usual natural bone over here. Okay. So but the main important property of this ceramic biomaterials is, so it is having the excellent biocompatibility means, so once that's been inserted inside the body, okay, so it will not cause any sort of damage to the surrounding tissues over there. Okay. So that is one main important thing of the ceramic biomaterials. But the thing over here is the strength of the ceramic biomaterials has been less compared to the metal biomaterials. Okay. So this is the other important one of this ceramic biomaterial. So, for example, in the bone screw, okay. So you guys have seen the bones and its screws for the damaged part, as I've been told for the metal biomaterial, okay. So it's going to withstand the long loads, but it may have different materials, the metal biomaterials, okay. So especially the titanium alloys have been used and the cobalt materials have been used. So in order to treat this bone screw process. So these are the some of the important biomaterials which have been used in the biomaterial field. Okay. So these are the three important types of biomaterials which have been used in the for the natural purpose inside the human body. So you guys got the concept of biomaterials? Any doubt in the concept of biomaterial?
No, sir.
So for our batch students, for the project batch students, I'm doing this biomaterials project itself. For all the batches, I'm doing the project on this biomaterials itself, especially the ceramic biomaterials I've been working on. So you guys, we can able to show this ceramic biomaterials once you guys going to come to the college. Okay.
Yes.
So any questions on these biomaterials? Any questions?
No.
These are the small concepts of the biomaterials, the sintering, the types of sintering, the property enhancement of sintering, the applications of sintering process, and the biomaterials. Okay, so these are the few topics which have been discussed so far. So we have done, we have gone through with this. So 1 minute, let us see the syllabus. So we have gone through with the basic concept of the polymers. We have gone through the polymer processing method like the wet spinning, dry spinning process. So we undergone the molding process, and we have gone through with the powder metallurgy and the trends in the powder metallurgy, and we have been completed the sintering process. So right now we have to go for the characterization techniques. Okay, we'll be moving for the characterization techniques in this particular module. So the module, third module will be completes over there. So we're going to tell what exactly the meaning of the characterization. So, okay, fine. We're going to see in the next class the characterization techniques. So, I'm going to make the separate PPT for this, and I'm going to present in front of you guys. In the next class, we're going to give the meaning of the characterization. Okay. So, what exactly the meaning of the characterization technique means? So, once you take any of the part, okay, any of the material, okay. So, we're going to observe the internal structure, internal arrangement of these materials over there. Okay. So if you're going to observe this internal structures of this material, then we're going to call it as a characterization of the given particular materials. Okay. So once you can been observed in the scanning electron microscope, okay. So you guys can able to get the things, how the things have been arranged. So in and around the material, okay. So that you guys will come to know the strength has been enhanced because of the internal properties of the materials. Okay. So those internal things we can able to check it clearly. Okay. So we're going to give one small example for this. How this characterization technique have been applied for the materials. So for the human body, okay. So if you're going to have the X-ray, okay. So we can able to see the internal parts and the things over there, okay, in the X-ray, okay. Similarly, for the materials, if you have been gone through the characterization process, you will come to know the internal structures of the material, okay. So that's how the similarity between the X-ray and the characterization by using the SEM process. So this is the basic introduction for the characterization process. So in the next class we'll be want to be clear with this particular characterization process. Okay. So we'll be discussing in the next class the entire characterization process. So let us take the attendance part 1 minute.